welcome here to the Ukraine Energy Workshop. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Max Grünig with E3G, actually Washington, DC, so I'm a little bit in a different time zone today, but I'll do my very best to moderate this first panel. I want to thank you all for joining us on a Friday. I know we have some participants online and a lot of people here in the room. I want to introduce our first keynote speakers for the opening remarks for this event today. So we have Svetlana Romanko, the founder and director of Razom We Stand, and we have Julia Karl, the deputy head of the section for energy diplomacy and decarbonization at the German Foreign Office. Thank you both so much for joining us or hosting this also in your case, Svetlana, and then also for giving some opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Max. Okay, great. Razom We Stand, a Ukrainian-based international organization that I founded 2.5 years ago when the full-scale invasion of Russia against Ukraine started, is now is happy to invite you to this space where we will discuss main strategic dimensions of rebuilding Ukraine on renewable energy and exploring the shining Ukrainian potential to become a first post-war country in the world that will lead and catalyze the renewable energy transition across the globe. As an organization, it's important to say that it's not the only activities that we provide strategic comms work, high-profile advocacy, and high-impact public campaigning. The other area where we also act is banning Russian fossil fuels and all investments into Russian fossil fuels. And I think we all agree that, to be fair and to be honest, we will only be able to rebuild Ukraine in full and implement the highest climate and energy goals in line with the European ambition after we defeat Russia's regime that currently attacks us. And we all know what's happening in our motherland, in Ukraine, in the countries that we want to rebuild and to attract many investments and funding in and make it a win-win situation, country, and conditions. And just to provide you with a few updates on the other parts of our work, we just spent 2 intense days advocating for a full ban on Russian fossil fuels, especially LNG, with Bundestag and also with Chancellery Office Economic Division, and we are quite hopeful that some measures will be put in place to help Ukraine to withstand and defeat Russian fossil fuels, which still fuels this war in a massive scale. And we will hope that this event will become the first step to liberate from a Russian aggression in terms of the fossil fuels, but also escalate renewable revolution in Ukraine and globally. And with regard of the difficulty of the situation that we experience now in Ukraine, because power cuts are obvious, tough for the citizens, and we actually don't know if we have planned to live through the winter, but I believe we will, because our nation never surrenders. And we will do it completely. And with that said, today we are going to bring a ray of hope and highlight the projects which are still developing in Ukraine in spite of everything. And you're very welcome to the discussion and to make your input, to share, and to make useful connections. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to the event. We are at the eve of the Ukraine Recovery Conference, which will take place next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm very happy to see so many energy-related energy-related events that are happening before and after the conference, and also during the conference there will be a lot of events covering energy as a cross-cutting issue, because it's at this time at this point it is really important to focus all the questions on energy and rebuilding and reconstructing it. I think that the accession path that Ukraine is taking into the European Union is really vital to the reconstruction also, and will help the reconstruction in many ways. And if we look to energy, Ukraine is already integrated into the European Union or into Europe. Since day one of the war, the electricity systems are synchronized, which is of a big help today for Ukraine, but will probably be a very big help to Europe and the green transition in Europe at some point. Maybe to let you know a little bit what we are planning also for the conference, you can access either you're invited to the conference or you can follow it online. There will be panels on energy with the ministers. There will be a panel on the National Energy and Climate Plan that Ukraine will present during the conference. And there will be many energy businesses there and also civil society. We have a whole of society approach for the conference, and we also have a whole of society approach towards the support for Ukraine in the energy sector. Right now, for the immediate needs, our minister and the government is working a lot to increase air defense. We are giving money to the Ukrainian Energy Support Fund. Germany is the biggest donor for that. We are having businesses that donate everything they can find to the energy sector. We have municipalities, we have citizens who are giving time and donations to help their sister cities in Ukraine during this time. But we don't only want to focus on immediate needs. When we think about what needs to be rebuilt, we want to support you to rebuild better and greener. And this means that already now we're giving some of the money towards green and renewable projects, for example, solar panels for buildings that might survive the winter easier with solar panels. And we, as Germany, we have learned some lessons during the war as well, how energy and security are connected and how the green revolution will help us all to become more resilient and more independent in the field of energy, and will also benefit the climate in the end. So with these little few remarks on what we are doing and how we work together, I want to wish you a very successful day in discussions, and I'm sure that we will support each other in the green transition very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Svetlana, and thank you very much, Julia, Karl, for these opening remarks. Very, very inspiring remarks, and you're so right. It's both about reacting to the immediate needs, the immediate challenge, also, of course, the next winter, looking ahead, but then also medium-term and long-term, looking towards EU accession, looking also beyond that, looking then towards net zero society, which is all has to be aligned and coordinated. So thank you both very much for these opening statements. And I hear there's at least, there was rumors this morning that President Zelensky will speak to the Bundestag on Tuesday. So another big event coming up. So a lot of movement, hopefully also continuing this collaboration on the energy transition and energy support for Ukraine. Thank you very much indeed. Now we will move to our first panel directly, and we have our first speaker joining us online. I want to introduce Mykola Kolesnik. He's not yet here. Okay, we will go to our next speaker. Okay, in our first panel, we have some speakers online and some in the room, so we can switch back and forth as it happens. Oh, we have him here, wonderful. So we can indeed start with our first speaker online, and it's Deputy Minister of Energy for the government of Ukraine, Mykola Kolesnik, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you can hear and see us well, and we can definitely see you. We hope we can also hear you when you start. We have, of course, lots of questions, and I'm not sure if you heard the opening remarks, but of course, a burning question for anybody focusing on energy sector and Ukraine is what measures, what plans do you have for responding to the significant loss of generating capacity in both in the electricity generation, but also heat generation, of course, looking towards the upcoming heating season. What plans are there, what measures are being taken, and what future plans are still in the works? And of course, that's not an easy one to answer, and I want to, of course, just want you to encourage to touch on some of these issues, and also, of course, how others can help. That's, of course, an important question too, since we're here in Berlin and since we're on the eve or pre-eve of the Ukraine Recovery Conference, how the international community should and could help in this regard. And the floor is yours. Thank you so much. So, not sure if...
No, I hear you well.
Oh, wonderful.
So thank you for the floor. I will texting your question to have direct answers. So first of all, thank you for possibility to be presented online. Despite the current recent attacks that happened even this night, we still operate and manage the sustainability and frequency in our electricity grid. We try to manage and to work with capacity we have. So in March and April, Russia started to employ high precious weapon to intensify its airstrikes at Ukrainian civil and crucial energy infrastructure. The enemy attacked the primary aim at Ukrainian thermal power plant, which generates electricity mostly, and they attacked also combined heating and power plant, CHP. And here is more structural problem because in the heating season, as previously you mentioned, that's question not only of a lack of electricity, it's also question how to manage supply of heat and hot water for households. They also attack hydroelectric power plants, which is one of key maneuverable capacity to dispatch in right regimes electricity grids. We also had a few attacks on underground gas storage facilities, but despite that, it works normally well. There's no problem. We were preparing for that, as well as electricity transition system of NEC Ukrenergo. So this is high voltage network. In this situation, as for today, since being full-scale invasion by Russian Federation, over 50% of our generation capacity has been destroyed, damaged, or occupied. The destruction of generation capacity, especially those of highly maneuverable generation, has led to shortage of electricity and energy in Ukrainian power grid. Such a situation could result in enforced power outage for both consumers and individual sector, industrial, I mean. And with the sustained scale of shelling and destruction may lead to affect economic consequences, to have this negative economic consequences and humanitarian crisis. It is increasingly evident that the upcoming winter will indeed be more challenging than in the previous heating season 22-23. Yet it's unclear how far Russia will escalate its energy-related aggression. That is why for us it's crucial to adequately prepare for potential emergency by ensuring sufficient resources and to increase and rebuild back infrastructure that could be rebuilt. We hope that today discussion it will and future Berlin full meetings will be a lot helpful to encourage and to define the right instruments of supporting current situation. As mentioned previously, one of the key important points that the full-scale Russian aggression began in the first day of desynchronization of Ukrainian electricity system from post-Soviet, and after synchronization, full synchronization with the NSOE, with European electricity and energy community. In this current situation, we start first of all, and one of the important steps to increase the commercial balancing capacity in intergovernment entry-exit point. It means to use all current technical capacity of interconnections on a full scale, so to use and to receive maximum of electricity which could be received. I need to underline that we work exclusively in commercial way, so all this electricity is bought. This is market instruments. The second important and crucial point here is to define the right, let's say, energy mix. If we have the infrastructures that could be rebuilt, we trying to find the technical decision how to rebuild it back, because we need this installed capacity before the increasing consumption, when the temperature will be quite a lot higher, or when the temperature, when it be already the heating season. The second point, we need to stress and to receive more and to build more sustainable network, electricity network, and that should be rebuilt back on the principle of distribution capacity. The same as building new capacity, new generation capacity. We do believe it should be built with the principle of distribution electricity. It means that in each region, we need to build small and mid-level capacity of generation units, which could be based on different sources. First of all, it should be green energy. We do believe as a country that we implement the principles of green transition, and we try to increase, despite the war, we try to increase the number of green generation in our balance. But we try, and we do believe this is right to increase, taking the experience of previous years. So if we build additional solar or wind panel or wind parks, it should be in comparison or in one package with injectors or so-called systems of BESS system, battery industrial system, to accumulate and not to disbalance electricity grids by huge generation in some hours and lower generation in other hours. The second point is gas generation. Ukraine produced natural gas quite a lot, more than 18 billion cubic meter. Natural gas is transition sources. And in current situation, we do understand that we need to find this energy mix, future energy mix, which will be quite sustainable and commercially attractive, let's say. And it will take into account the resource-based economy. It means that we need to build new generation which is based on resource which we have, and we will not be depending on something that is not produced in current area. That's why building additional generation in natural gas piston, gas turbine, it's something which could be rebuilt back quickly. Could be this is one of type of maneuverable capacity, and this decision will help us to solve the consumption during the next heating season 24-25. The second point is building battery systems. It's quite important to manage current installed capacity more efficiently, because in some hours we might have good volumes. In some time we have not enough capacity of generation. I'll try maybe to manage to answer the questions I seen previously. So first of all, yes, we have action plan for the next heating season in each district, in each region. We do understand the point of connection. The Cabinet of Ministers made the resolution to simplify the connection to the electricity and gas grids. We simplify the requirements of construction of power generation, especially in critical energy objects. It makes it possible to build new generation quite quick, as quick as possible, because we do understand we have a lack of capacity and any sources will be important. There is two types how to build it. First type, it's like backup for critical infrastructure. Second type, it's just additional generation in the area. We have a lot biomass resources. We have a lot waste material resources. And this is huge area for future investments. And currently all over the Europe, there is a lot technical decisions, a lot examples of very efficient power generation units and heat units which is based on these types of resources. Ukraine has a lot of this type of resources. We implemented lately, we implemented all legislation requirements. So now we do understand that everything which should be implemented to make the investment frame more comfortable is already on place. The second point, plan of development of decentralized and distributed generation. It's very important that we now made the right decision and our regulator made the right decision, which allows distribution system operators of electricity network to support all new connections. It's very important because it makes, first of all, cheaper to receive the connections to the grid, and it, let's say, it's cut the timeline twicely to receive the connection and to build all these power lines to connect, because there will be full support for distribution system operators.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Minister. I think we got a very good idea of both short-term and longer-term planning or medium-term planning by the government. Also, the relevance of diversifying and having different sources and the different potentials, which is very good. We'll touch upon some of these potentials in more detail throughout the first panel and also the second panel, of course. And I definitely invite you to stay on for the continuing conversation. We will have definitely time for Q&A at the end of this first panel. If you want to stay, we can carry on then. And I want to invite you also to, of course, provide additional information towards the end of the session. First of all, I want to thank you very much for joining us remotely and for opening our panel here in Berlin. Thank you very much. I will... Yes, applause in the room. I hope you hear this.
Yeah, I hear. May I ask one minute? Just 1 minute.
Of course.
There is one question in the chat regarding that the government of Ukraine has very low, ridiculously low target to deploy solar energy in the next 3 years. Solar energy. So to rebuild all of this, we made the decision of the government to build the green generation as quick as possible, and to give the possibility to all households, critical infrastructure. We made decision of National Bank of Ukraine to provide credit programs for business and households to build renewable and other type of solar panels, specifically with batteries use. So we not making some gap or price cap or something like that for green energy to have it's only like 700 megawatts. No, we're trying to build as much as possible. We give in financial instruments, technical instruments, and we even defining the sites to help to make so business help to be a business investment friendly instrument, showing where is the right place to build and helping with receiving the land agreements. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Minister. This was actually also a great transition to our next speaker here in the room. I hope it was not your comment online. Pavel Bilek, I'll hand you the microphone in a second. Senior consultant in energy and climate policy with Berlin Economics. And working, of course, on exactly these questions. And I want to ask you specifically how we can increase decentralized renewable energy, and specifically solar potential, how we can actually ramp this up quickly, going beyond these 700 megawatt that were discussed just now, and what your perspectives are also, of course, on remaining bottlenecks and how to overcome them. Just a lot of questions, and looking forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you all today. Like a good consultant, I have a slide deck. Could we please put up the slide deck? Or do I just click? Nice. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Again, very, very happy to be here today. So as some of you know, my name is Pavel Bilek. I work for Berlin Economics. And I am also the deputy head of the Low Carbon Ukraine project, funded by the German Ministry of Economy and Climate Action. So today I'm actually going to talk about a paper that we have done for Greenpeace, and which we're launching in the next few days, that was looking at the question of how do we speed up solar deployment in Ukraine. So this is not necessarily a study that's going to answer the question of what has to happen this winter and the next few months, but I think it's already important to start thinking about scaling up the ambitions, and also, you know, as was mentioned by Max, thinking about the obstacles that are in the way and how to tackle them. Because reforms take a long time, but ultimately there are many that are needed in order to actually be able to ensure that the solar deployment happens in a good way. Closer. Yeah. So, as mentioned, the paper is mostly about solar PV, and maybe to start off with and to really highlight this, I think everybody knows this, but Ukraine has amazing technical potential for renewables, some of the best in Europe. This is for both solar and wind, but for solar, it's really, really significant. And what we're actually seeing is that, you know, the rollout of solar started even prior to the war, right? So as we see in the kind of bottom right there, even prior to the war in 2018 and 2019, a significant amount of capacity was added very, very quickly. And since 2022, solar has really been crucial for keeping the lights on in Ukraine. A lot of it has been damaged or occupied, and this is definitely the case. But there's still quite a lot that has been contributing steady, reliable electricity for the Ukrainian energy system. And so, of course, the benefits of solar PV are very, very clear. It's highly decentralized, so harder to hit and target in general. It provides some of the lowest levelized costs of electricity amongst almost any technology now rolled out globally. And it's reliable, right? And of course, the kind of more off-grid or decentralized nature of it ensures that there's more significant reliability. And so what we've been seeing since the start of the war is really a progressive small-scale installation in both the public sector, so in schools, hospitals, public buildings, but also in the residential sector, in people's gardens and rooftops. And there's an agreement, I think, by everyone, and we heard it from the deputy minister now as well, that the future of the energy system in Ukraine has to be built around renewables. But current short-term ambitions are way below potential, and this is why we wrote this paper for Greenpeace, because we felt that the Ukraine plan, which only aims to add about 0.7 gigawatt in the next 3 years, is inadequate. And so we wanted to see what is the actual technical potential, but then more importantly, how do we actually get there? What are some of the things that need to be tackled immediately or within the next few years to enable that rollout? Because technical potential by itself is great, but if you don't have the right conditions from a regulatory and market perspective, then it's not going to lead to anything. So I want to really quickly go through the results of our study and then focus on the regulatory side. But effectively, what we find is that a more significant rollout of solar PV is possible within the next few years. So our techno-economic modeling that we conducted finds that instead of the 0.7 gigawatt, the kind of cost optimal would actually be above 3.6 gigawatts, so more than five-fold what the targets are currently. And we anticipate that a rollout of about 8.4 gigawatt between now and 2030 is possible. And this is not only the cost optimal, so the best kind of cost system, but it's also one which ensures that there's balancing and adequacy within the grid. And so we also have a number of other technologies that will be needed in parallel, including storage, including flexible capacity, but we find that solar has the best potential. 1 minute, okay. So I'm going to compare this to some of the other assessments, and effectively also one of the issues that we have identified is that there's a really significant difference between the kind of targets for 27 in the Ukraine plan and then the targets for 2030 that we find in a lot of the other strategic plans. And this leads to questions about how this is actually going to be done, right? So the assessment that we've conducted actually presents a more realistic least cost pathway where you go in a more consistent kind of rollout scenario and not just everything gets done within 3 years between 2027 and 2030. And so this also accounts for balancing for lead times, the times it takes to build technologies, but also continuity of investment and the effect that this will have on employment. So ensuring that the jobs are actually kept throughout that process. And this, we feel, is still kind of a bottom or a lower bound number, actually, and that a higher electricity demand can be possible if there's a progressive recovery or progressive electrification of end uses, more EVs, heat pumps, etc. And so this would then mean more solar PV could be integrated into the system as the least cost technology. So great, technically it's possible, the system can handle it. There's a number of other technologies that have to be rolled out in parallel, but great, it's possible. So what's actually preventing this? And I want to really quickly tackle 3 kind of primary factors that we've identified. So on the first one is the technical bottlenecks. So there's the lack of balancing capacity, and as we've heard, a lot of the flexible generation has been targeted and disabled in the last few weeks and months. And so for that, there's going to be a need to build up highly flexible capacity, but also to think a lot more about storage and about ancillary services to smoothen the spikes and drops in demand. There's the poor state of the energy or the transmission infrastructure, and this also precedes the war. But really what's going to have to happen is better planning and distribution of electricity, so at the distribution level, especially to accommodate increases in electric vehicle rollout or heat pumps, but also interconnections between regions, right? So when we're thinking about installing large-scale solar, it's going to be primarily in a few regions, but then we need to ensure that the solar can actually make it to less renewably rich regions, and for that there'll be significant transmission needed, otherwise there's going to be a lot of curtailment. And of course, increasing interconnection with the NSOE and other neighbors is going to be fundamental. And one more topic that we've identified is skills, labors, and equipment issues. So here there's really kind of a long-term aspect which needs to be looked at, which is expanding technical, vocational education and training. We also suggest focusing on women and veterans as a primary group for this, better integration into the labor force, and then also expanding donation campaigns and building relationships with equipment manufacturers and suppliers. So if anything, though, we need to really talk about the market, which we identified as currently one of the biggest issues that's out there. And here, really, there's going to be a need for wholesale market reform, something that everybody knows, something that will ultimately have to happen. So we currently see a lack of investment incentives for renewables, flexibility, and storage providers. So there'll be a need to remove the price caps, which are currently in place, and move to a more cost-covering system to ensure that we're able to encourage private sector participants to enter the system. There'll be need to be the development of an auxiliary market. So this means also ensuring that battery storage providers can make their money back. And of course, tackling excessive market concentration will be key. So here we're really talking about breaking up the monopolies in the energy system and ensuring a better playing field. And it's important to note that all of this has to be accompanied by social compensation. So any sort of market liberalization scenario will ultimately also mean that there needs to be assurances and programs for vulnerable consumers, especially during this very difficult time. The lack of adequate public financing support for RES has been a key issue, and so there's of course a lack of trust that's in the system that's now due to the delayed payments on the green tariff. But there's also the need to resolve the legacy debt, which has accumulated across every single part of the energy system value chain in Ukraine. So there'll be a need to reform the financial mechanisms, and this has to be tackled immediately. And again, kind of moving to more cost-covering tariffs could possibly be a good solution for that. And then, of course, yeah, last one. High financing costs are something that has to be tackled. And I think there's already quite a lot of work that's being done here, but really de-risking instruments, insurance protection for or wartime related political risk insurance will be fundamental. And so there's a number of subsidy programs that can do that. There's still a few regulatory things, but we don't necessarily need to get into these now, but really thinking about municipally owned enterprises and then about the role of the regulator will be fundamental in speeding up any sort of renewable market rollout. So I'll leave it there. Key conclusion is that higher targets are possible, both technically and economically. They actually provide the best possible solution, but there's a number of things that we need to fix. And I think these reforms need to be started urgently and immediately in order to ensure that the targets that are set out in all of these strategies can be fulfilled. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, looking forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Thank you, Pavel. And I want to say regarding the last point you made about the energy or the local energy initiatives, we definitely want to talk about this some more. I also want to point out there's the leaflet or a policy brief outside that discusses especially questions such as energy communities and their role, a possible role or potential role. So there's a lot of aspects there to discuss. You also mentioned very importantly the social aspect, so we'll talk about that in a minute. And then also, of course, the de-risking and the guarantees for investment, which we'll also talk about some more. So thank you for making all these connecting points there while bringing us on a very specific item on the PV potential for Ukraine. And of course, there's other renewables as well. We will talk now online again with Simon Mels, who is the energy project lead for the German Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Kyiv, and thank you for joining us remotely. So his job is in particular to also bring clean tech and renewable energy into Ukraine. And I want to ask you, of course, if you can tell us a little bit more how to bring more of that into Ukraine, into the market, and also maybe some examples of success stories, and maybe also some examples where you see where things are maybe not a success story, where there are challenges. But first of all, thank you so much for joining us, and the floor is yours, Simon.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. So AHK helps actually German companies to do business in Ukraine and Ukrainian business to do business in Germany. And yeah, the second is not that popular right now. It's quite difficult for Ukrainian companies to do business in Germany, but we are trying to help them. And I'm the coordinator of the Energy Committee, which is specialized in green energy, and I'm quite proud of it. And we are also specialized in critical infrastructure, what is needed right now the most, in my opinion. So every week I advise 2 to 3 companies and that are looking to invest in Ukrainian market. And regarding the green energy, I'm telling them the following. So there are like 3 different opportunities, in my opinion. So the short term in solar energy, and medium term in biomethane and wind power, and long term in hydrogen, and especially green hydrogen. What is often forgotten is the geothermal potential of Ukraine, because Ukraine has quite high potential in the Carpathians. And this has also been recognized now by Naftogaz, and they asked us last week to find partners, German partners, which can provide equipment for them. And but not only this is not always going well. So I will go to the second part of your question. What can be critical, and war also often offers many opportunities for exploitation and corruption. And we see there from both sides. I have a practical example, for example. One of them is that in, how should I tell this? I talked to a company yesterday. What can I tell? What can't I tell? So there is a landfill gas plant which belongs to a German mid-sized company, and it could supply 5,000 houses with heat and electricity. And currently it stands still since more than 1 year. And the Ukrainian city, which is a contract with the operator, simply stopped paying for the electricity. And even if the contract is normally should go until 2030. This is like from the Ukrainian side, critical example. And from the German side, yeah, some German companies are trying to sell and give away old and worn out solar panels to Ukraine for a good price, for example, which of course makes sense for them before like find yeah, special trash in Germany and try to bring it there. And the same happens also to use transformers without documentation, without they just simply deliver to Ukraine to Oblenergos and brought there. And this is quite a big problem in my opinion. And I'm trying, like we're trying at AHK, at our energy committee, we're trying to solve this and trying to connect, yeah, the governmental part and the companies to explain this, because big companies, as you can see on the wall behind me, they always, yeah, they don't have problems with that. They have quite good connections. But SMEs, yeah, they feel like they have a lot of problems, and we're trying to, or me personally, we're trying to tell these problems. Yes, I hope it was not too short. Do you have any questions?
I hope this, yeah, it's working now. So thank you very much indeed. And thank you also for pointing out to some potential and some also dormant potential, and also structuring this in across time. So solar is an immediate near term, and then medium term potentials, and then longer term with hydrogen, of course, that is mentioned a lot, but then also you mentioned geothermal, which is maybe less often discussed, but also very interesting, of course, when you go into very high penetration of renewable in the power sector, but also, of course, for the heating sector question. I also want to thank you for stressing the role of SMEs and the particular challenges of SMEs, who, of course, have not huge legal department or finance departments, and who rely more on cooperation and also support from both institutions such as ARK, but also other players like we have here in the room, Ukraine Invest and others. So very good to have that point. And please stay online with us for the Q&A round. We hope to get some more questions in later. But thank you so much, first of all. And we talk to you later some more in the Q&A. Thank you, Simon. I want to go over to my seat neighbor here, Alexander Bercht, which is very easy, makes it easy, also handing over the microphone later. Executive member of the union IG Bergbau, Chemie und Energie, so for the mining sector, chemical and energy sector in Germany. You have been to Ukraine, you worked with colleagues in Ukrainian unions, and so in that particular, with that background, of course, you know also a lot about the energy transition in general, and especially here in Germany. I want to ask you, what role for civil society and especially unions, of course, in the energy transition and the particular energy crisis in Ukraine now, and what obstacles do they face, and how do we have to view this to see this in the light also of the upcoming EU accession and the plan to integrate? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Let me first say another remark, because actually we see a very short-term needs within the energy sector, because when we talk to our partners with the unions, energy unions in the Ukraine, they're asking us for using our network in the German energy sector for providing stuff they need for keep their system running, keep the heating system running. And we think we will work on that because we have our own transformation in our energy system, and we see that there's a lot of stuff we maybe can provide because we're switching off plants in Germany, and so we have maybe equipment we can. So our own transformation actually will maybe give space for supporting these immediate needs. In the middle and long term, we see there's a need for structural change. It referred here to the change of the energy sector. And last year, when I visited Ukraine, I visited Chervonograd, which is a typical mining city, mining region in Ukraine. And when I talked to the members of the union, I think they really know that there's change coming to their region and change coming to their work and to their workplace. But they have the same questions like German miners had when the change was coming to their region. Where will be the investment in the region? Where comes the perspective for new in industrial jobs? What will happen to my job, to my family, etc.? And these were the questions we had to discuss in the German coal phase-out debate as well. And therefore, from the experience we made in Germany, I think it's a need for a very vital social dialogue within the regions, with the government, within the country, and between very different groups. So first of all, there's a social dialogue between the employers and the unions, but even the social dialogue in the wider civil society. And what I experienced that you see there is a lot of problems because there's a very debate about what are the union rights, and we see that under martial law, we see that the union rights are cut back under martial law. There are some regulations which are an obstacle for an open debate between the government, which are an obstacle to establish a very vital social dialogue. And I think it's very needful to work on this openness because we see it in Germany. I just saw Tobias Münchmeyer from Greenpeace because we were working together on staffers on the German coal commission. We back then we do not had very easy discussions between our organizations and within this commission. But I think it was very fruitful to have all that stuff everyone has to bring on the table. And so that would be my advice to look for this social dialogue, establish this social dialogue, because if you go to these regions, if you go to these industries, everything gets really hard if you do not have the openness to talk about what are the middle to long-term challenges and what are the social perspectives for the people who are affected by this. Because what we see in Germany as well, there is a clear pathway to solar and to all that stuff. But what we see as well, it's not so labor intensive as other industries have been. And so you have to have a discussion within the regions, where are the jobs in the future, where it come from, and not any jobs, but jobs who are make them proud as they are now and bring the same salary or an equivalent salary, because without these perspective, your transformation process will become have so many obstacles that you will bring away. So I think this social dialogue is very crucial. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alexander Berg. This is two very important points. One about the process, so maybe inspiration with the German Coal Commission as a model, even though, of course, the coal exit in Ukraine is a very different beast compared to what's happening in Germany. But of course, also the point you made about getting or maintaining or creating new qualified quality jobs and unionized labor, and having not just service sector replacing the mining sector and the industrial sector, but actually bringing in these industry jobs in the clean tech sector as well. And I think this is, of course, not a short-term thing to solve, but something we have to think about already now. So thank you very much, and I think a lot to discuss further on here. We continue in the room, and I want to thank Jorge Beche for joining us. He's investment associate with Goldberg Solar, and is actually one of the investors active in Ukraine with renewable energy, with solar, of course, as the name suggests. And this is, of course, a unique opportunity to hear directly from somebody who is active in Ukraine with these renewable or distributed renewable energy projects. What are the challenges, what works, what could work even better, and also what your outlook is for this as a business case, because of course you're looking at this through an investor's lens. So thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I do have a small presentation to guide our conversation today. As mentioned, my name is Jorge Beche. I work at Goldberg Solar, especially in the investment division. So who is Goldberg Solar? For those of you that don't know the company, we are a large German solar energy company with over 22 years in the market. To date, we've built over 3 gigawatts of power in over 15 different countries. We're currently active in 12 different countries, so quite an international company. Through our investment division, Goldberg Solar Investment, we've built power plants in Canada, Chile, Netherlands, Germany, Kazakhstan, Poland, and now we decided to go into the Ukrainian market. This decision was taken in January of last year. So we get the question quite often, why now? Why not before, when Ukraine had a feed-in tariff program? Well, there's a number of reasons for that. 3 changes we saw in the Ukrainian market that made us attracted to it. Number 1 was the introduction of corporate PPA agreements. There's a structure that, compared to guaranteed buyer, which we had before, is bankable. And it is financeable by international lending institutions. So this definitely was a game changer for us. We feel much more comfortable working with a corporate PPA than, say, a guaranteed buyer program that is not in the best financial state. Number 2 was the reaffirmation by the German government that we will be able to apply for political risk insurance. As an investor, clearly the higher the risk, the higher your returns. But there is a natural limit on how much your return can be from selling energy. So by leveraging the political risk insurance, we were able to find a compromise in which we are attracted still to the Ukrainian market. And number 3, and this is no secret to anyone, the Ukrainian energy market is intrinsically linked to Europe and is going to become even more linked as our energy systems not only interconnect, but Ukraine's relevance to Europe increases. So you ask me, challenges, but also solutions, no, to investing in Ukraine. Number 1 challenge, definitely the corporate PPA agreements. Why? There's a change. The Ukrainian government changed in the legislation in the past couple of years, introduced the figure. Yeah, that's amazing, but at the same time, it's a novel product for the market, and companies are not used to it. And second, how many companies in the Ukrainian market actually want corporate PPA? They have to be very large energy consumers, but they also have to be bankable. And bankable means financeable by an international lending institution. And this is where we have a challenge, no? Which company in Ukraine is bankable at the moment from an international investor perspective? So as an international community, we definitely need to work together to find a mechanism to deleverage this risk for the companies. Number 2, I would say also comes in the sense of financing. So there are financial lenders, DFIs mostly. However, this also comes with the challenge that the local banking sector is not able to provide project financing to investors like us, no? And what are our goals? We want to build over 500 megawatts of capacity over the next 3 to 5 years, mainly in central and western Ukraine, and this will require an enormous amount of investment that simply the local market is not able to provide. So that also creates limitations in the financing. Another one would be the foreign exchange. The corporate PPAs I mentioned are mostly now being offered in hryvnia. As an international investor and with any energy product, most of our purchases will be abroad, and thus we need foreign capital. There's current restrictions in place for foreign capital and exchange, and without a way to have these contracts in euros, then the risk on the forex, the foreign exchange, lies on us, the investor. This is quite a challenge, and at the moment, there's no product in the market that really deleverages us in this sense. So again, as international communities, we need to find a solution to this issue because it's a problem that not only we are facing, any other investor in any other sector will face the same problem. And just, I know we're running out of time, so yeah, last one. For us, challenge is insurance. So definitely political risk insurance like the one I mentioned from the German government. Other international lending institutions like the EFC have also political risk insurance. But definitely having products that are comprehensive and at market rate will definitely help us achieve our goal of building 500 megawatts in the next 3 to 5 years. That would be it from my side.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Jorge. This was, of course, a lot of challenges in that list, but also some, obviously, there must be also compelling reasons for being there because you're not a non-profit, you're a for-profit company. So this is also great to see that even now, even with this challenging environment, there is already opportunity. That means if we make the environment better, then it should really leverage a lot more investment. So this is really promising, I think. Thank you very much for joining us. And also thank you for being active in renewables in Ukraine. Our last speaker of the panel, Konstantin Isnichi, is actually going exactly in that direction. He's a strategic advisor and EU representative for Ukraine Invest, so also working on getting investment into Ukraine. And you have also some slides for us. I'll give you, yeah, this is the clicker and the single microphone. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you for your feedback, just panelists, and that was quite important to hear what business think about the barriers and the problems that we have in Ukraine, but I will rather speak about opportunities. I have a short presentation, and just want to use this opportunity to promote Ukraine Invest. Those from you who do not know, we are a government agency working under the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. And just here certain information on us. We were able to secure investments into Ukraine of up to $2 billion since 2018. Just we are helping with investor interactions with support of the companies that already work on the local market. Just from German side, we work closely with AHK. We also work with local associations just supporting businesses in Ukraine. So, and we definitely promote investment opportunities all over the globe, and mainly just we see Germany as the main locomotive, I would say, of the future reconstruction of Ukraine. That's a different presentation that you put, but anyway, okay, that's a longer one. It's for 30 slides, and I understand we don't have that much time. just overall, just want to give you just understanding, just a macroeconomic snapshot on what do we have. Just economy growing 5% in terms of GDP growth per year. We expect this growth will continue this year. We have quite problematic situation definitely with the energy sector. We do not know how it will reflect this year on the economy growth overall. Yeah, we have FX issues, as my colleagues mentioned today, but just government keeps FX on pretty stable rate, I would say, just trying to fight inflation as well. Overall, we have quite good situation with reserves. We are pretty much secured from the side of Western donors, Western partners in terms of coverage of this, of a budget gap that we have just right now. Just coming to opportunities, I would say that if you look at from the business perspective, so what you see, it's a war in the country, it's a lot of different risks, but look at it from other perspective. How expensive is everything? And I would say everything is cheap. Another thing, let's say if you look at municipalities, for instance, at the opportunities on the regional level. So just everybody desperately looking for investors and will be able to help with the grid connections on local level, just on provision of the local support in terms of just land issues and other stuff, regulatory issues and other stuff. We as Ukraine Invest can connect investors with the high-level executives and politicians that could guarantee or provide certain information on the opportunities, and we want to make sure that investors will feel comfortable with their investments in Ukraine. Just a couple of instruments that we have. First of all, industrial parks. That's the old presentation, unfortunately. But now we have 78 industrial parks. If you look at the geography, they are located in the western part, so that more or less safe territories. Those of you who travel to Ukraine would prefer mainly Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Zakarpattia, this region. So, and incentives over there, so it's in terms of the corporate income tax, exemption, connecting to grids. Just later on, I'll show this. It should be on that slides as well. So we are, as an agency, just working under the law on significant investments. Definitely, we do not work with SMEs, but we work with larger investments. Large investments by Ukrainian standards, according to the law, it's a 12 million euros plus. And we can help with the, let's say, these. So all these incentives, just we have a special program. So the company coming to us with they should belong to a particular sector. We're helping them to prepare application to the Ministry of Economy and also Cabinet of Ministers. We approve them as the significant investor, and we have a bunch of different services that we provide them, just in terms of supporting them financially, administratively, and with all other stuff. So as I said, it's all presentation, but here are all the sort of processes of how it goes. So that's definitely it's just when you look at Ukraine from purely commercial standpoint, it's risk, but it's a potential risk of investment, but it's also just risk not, I would say, not to invest and lose this opportunity to be first comer. Have 1 minute, okay? To be a first comer, to get your larger market share. What I would suggest now, keeping in mind that everybody understands, let's say that it's going to be huge amount of money dedicated to rebuild Ukraine. So World Bank estimated it at the level of 500 million euros. So I think this figures now with the recent sort of development, let's put it this way, or destructions, is even larger. My understanding is that, and I would recommend to all businesses just coming to Ukraine now, just looking at the businesses they want to develop in Ukraine, coming to us, we'll provide you direct access to the government. We will organize all meetings on the ground. You will feel that it's pretty safe in particular regions. Of course, not the, I would say, that's, yeah. You see on this, it's in red, you see close to that regions, they're not that safe, I would put. But if you look closer to western borders, just my understanding, it's just you can pretty much be sort of secure in terms of investments. Here you see, I don't have much time to go over it, but that's a size of investment that were done after the war started. Including German companies like Bayer and others. Okay, that's a bunch of other stuff, but if anybody just interested, just let me know, I'll be here, just will be ready to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin, and sorry for having not the updated slides. We do have, we don't have time, but we do make time for 3 questions, and there's another microphone. I ask you to be very, very on point with a question. So ask a question into one of the speakers, not to the whole panel, and then we can get through 3 questions real quick. Yes, please.
Many thanks. Anne Berzio, EU delegation to Ukraine trade section. I have a question to the business representative, Goldberg Solar. Very interesting. Are you also looking into, you mentioned investment guarantees also provided by the German government. Are you also looking into export credits and the possibilities of ECAs? And one comment from your side, staff mobilization law, how are you finding the skilled workforce that you need? Thank you. And one comment to the organizers, very interesting, but I'm missing a female voice also on the panel, just to mention.
That's definitely true, thank you.
To your last point, my boss was supposed to be here at the beginning, but female boss, by the way. So yeah, leading the investments division, women from Ukraine for all matters. Export credits. We did look into it, and to be frank, it wasn't competitive, the rates. And there's something we see unless you sensitize and you really see that there's a more than given credit to companies giving Ukraine that you would see, you cannot just see risk and this is the level. You have to sensitize in what context we're doing it. So export credits, we're not looking into it, but the investment guarantee, definitely. And your second point was with the mobilization. So energy sector is critical infrastructure, and there's special caveats or carve-outs for how your personnel would be mobilized or not. However, at the moment, we do not have personnel directly employed in Ukraine. We're working with local partners, and it would be from the side of our local partners that their personnel will be impacted. And yeah, definitely we see this as a challenge, and this links to your last point, because at the moment, men are the ones being mobilized, women are not. Unfortunately, there's very little penetration of the women in the energy sector workforce. So that's something that us as international investors, if we're going to do any human development capital in the country, should target women to strengthen their position in our industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a question in the back. Is there a second mic? Okay. We hope so. Is the deputy minister still online? Maybe? We'll try. We'll try.
So maybe you could take another question, then I ask, so he has more time.
Yes, if there's another question, not to the deputy minister, yes.
Not exactly sure to whom to ask this question. Probably the solar specialist amongst the investors and company representatives. It seems to me that in the current situation, you need quick support, particularly for civilians who keep up the spirit about fighting a war, an uneven war. And wouldn't then be small PV, say even plug-and-play PV in this given situation, really a great step forward for the population? something that can go very quickly, be imported quickly, is relatively cheap, well established. My friend tells me that in most parts of Ukraine, you have 2 hours of electricity these days. I mean, that breaks a population in a situation of war, doesn't it? So that's my question, whether that's not an immediate thing before we talk about big power grids.
Yeah, very good question. I don't know. Who wants to go first?
I can take this one as well. I see your point. I think those are two solutions for the different problems. Small power, I would say plug and play, definitely would solve a lot of the challenges for the population, especially if you live in more remote areas where it will take longer to reestablish the connection. However, for really deploying large capacity at a national grid in which you can play a significant role in the energy sector, you need investments not in the kilowatt scale, but in the multiple megawatt scale. So just to give you a little sense of what power plants we were envisioning, they go from 24 megawatts to 250 megawatts, right? So there is a large scope there. But the idea we have is definitely to make them distributed to be able to produce all over the country. And like a comment was made about the bottlenecks regarding transmission. So definitely that would help also to tackle the blackouts.
Thank you. And maybe Pavel, real quick on this one also, like the relation between small distributed and the utility scale.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So maybe just as a statistic that we saw yesterday was that during the last 2 years, since the start of the war, about 350 megawatt of small scale has been installed, between 350 and 390. So this is a lot, but it's also very little, right? When you consider the kind of bigger picture and the fact that, you know, these outages are not going to be solved by a few kilowatt, as you said. With that being said, I think there's a need to really think about, you know, the storage component as well, and thinking about, okay, home systems that also have a storage component. And then I think more broadly, like there's need to think about also shorter term solutions, like for example, solar thermal as something that needs to be deployed for the winter, right? So again, it's this question of short term versus long term. I think now everything needs to be done before the next winter. This also includes other solutions, which may not be as green, to be totally honest with you. But then I think in a longer term, this utility scale is really where it needs to be. And spreading it out across Ukraine is important, of course. And everything else that Jorge said is absolutely fundamental. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pavel. And we will have to close this first panel now. I want to thank our speakers, be they online or here in the room. Thank you very much. Maybe hand of applause for our speakers enduring with us. And we will stay up here, the speakers, for a quick group photo. The audience, you get 5 minutes for a coffee break now, very cherished. And it's just a quick run, so who's first at the machine has best shot. And then we will continue with the second panel in just a few minutes. So thank you very much for joining us for the first panel. And if you're online, please stay there. You can keep watching the second panel. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, to being here. So I'm Olga Michelot. I live in Brussels for last 24 years, and I'm Ukrainian. What I would like to tell you, thank you very much also Razom We Stand that asked me to come here to moderate this panel. So I represent a real business working in Ukraine and right now in Poland also. A real business that's the essence for the Ukrainian economy. A real business that would like to work and business that know how to do in order to put a lot of solar, wind, storage, renewable energy and to make it functioning. It's the first thing that I would like to tell you. I represent today also European Business Association. We put a business map. On this map, European Business Association set up 20 projects in renewable energy in different regions of the country. Please see it, and I will send to
Razom We Stand a link in order that Razom We Stand can send this link to everybody. And now I would like to speak about state of play in Ukraine. Before the war, we had 55 giga of electricity, of capacity, electricity in Ukraine. In March 2024, it's only 10 giga. And after Russian attacks, I don't know, I don't have a data, but I can think that maybe it's 8 giga. Only for you to understand how Ukraine passed last winter. Ukraine passed last winter with 15 giga, with plus 2 that was supplied from the European Union. So we could survive. But next winter, I don't know how we will survive. What I can see that a lot of people flew from Ukraine, flew in the European Union, in another country, because women and children need to be heated. So actually they need the heat. They need the stability. So right now, I would like to, in this panel, that we speak about how we have to act now. We don't have a lot of time to speak. We had maybe before, first winter, we was lucky because it was hot. So it was hot winter. Second winter, we had a little bit capacity, so 15 plus 2, it was doable. But now, what we have to do, how we can manage it. So about it, I would like that we speak on these panels. And right now, I would like to ask all the panelists, come and sit, and I will present one by one. Please. Please, all the panelists. We have, I will present. Very good, thank you. Please take a place. Wolfram, so it's an extra panelist, it's good. Thank you very much. So we will begin from Pro Pierre Arnaud, Deputy Head of Unit, and Dejanir. And could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. So actually my question is, what specific measure is the European Union could propose to Ukraine to build a sustainable energy and viable business for the future reconstruction of Ukraine? It was my first question. And so after I will put second one, so please answer to first question.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. In fact, I'm stepping in for Gabriel Blanc, team leader here in charge of reconstruction, but who could not join. So I'm the deputy head of unit in the same unit. So that's the first question, but that's already a big question. And I think that we have to make the distinction first between urgency measures that the Commission is taking, and there have been a few, really to make sure that on the very short term we have a minimum capacity. So we had measures under EU civil protection mechanism in particular already in last year and this year. So transfer of power generators or transformers which are coordinated by the civil protection mechanism, donation made by EU member states, but also by the EU as such. So that was really the quick reaction of the EU. Then there is also this energy efficiency fund, which has been set up, which has for objective to tender and acquire some spare parts and so on to repair production capacity. It's also an instrument which is quite reactive and that can allow to have new production capacity, or at least repair of production capacity on the short term. So that's really something which is in the making, which has already started. And then your question was in fact much broader, but was more about how to make sure that we can have the environment to invest in infrastructure, in energy infrastructure, okay, to serve as soon as possible, but also on the medium to long term. And here we are developing in the Commission a powerful instrument, not from scratch, but we are developing what we call the Ukraine Investment Framework, which is part of your Ukraine facility, so the 50 billion euros package, which has been approved at the end of February, and for which already disbursement have been made by the EU, but to the budget of Ukraine. But on top of that, you've got this Ukraine Investment Framework, which is part of it. And here we really work with international financial institution or national development finance institution of member states to de-risk investment. So initially, this instrument was very much targeting support to the private sector via loans and guarantees. So we have examples of such things in the energy sector. So what we'll sign, for example, is a contract, a guarantee agreement with the BRD called IBAR, which will be signed in the coming weeks. We have another guarantee agreement signed with IFC. Both of them are around 150 million euros of guarantees, but one of them is fully dedicated to energy, the other one is not. But this guarantee agreement can create the right condition to make investment in energy bankable. And this is the first guarantee agreement I mentioned have for objective to disburse quickly. So I mean that the contract should be signed in around the coming 12 months. So we will do our best, but I think IFC and also the investor will do their best to accelerate given the acute challenges of the energy situation in Ukraine. But that's an instrument that will continue delivering in the coming years, and what cannot be done for this winter will at least be there for the next winter. But that's the private part of it, and then there is also a public part of it, which was not so much the focus initially of the instrument, but of course, given the situation, we are also trying to adapt. So here, what we are also going to sign is an investment grant component with KfW, but which is made only for Ukrenergo, so 100 million euros of grants to repair and also shelter some infrastructure. So here we are not talking about production capacity, but more about infrastructure grids, so really the electricity network in Ukraine. So that has been made also in a very short period of time. It's a product that was already developed and existing, but which has been expanded to a much larger scale in the coming in the past weeks. There is also work with Ukrenergo made by other partners. EIB, BRD are also working with Ukrenergo on the infrastructure. So they are also providing loans with our support as well. But so that's a bit the panorama, if I may say, for measure for energy at the moment. So very urgent short-term measures, maybe more limited in scope, although the EU Energy Efficiency Fund, the Energy Support Fund, sorry, the Energy Efficiency Fund also exists, but it's something different. But the Energy Support Fund is also stepping up in terms of amounts. But so these are very short terms, but then we have this Ukraine investment framework that can deliver to de-risk investments in the energy sector.
Pierre, actually, I would like to put a question to you right now. So you spoke about Ukrainian investment in Ukraine. So it's quite a big sum. And how many of these investments will be will go to renewable sources?
Most of the ones which are in the pipeline are made for renewable sources, and our instrument clearly focus on this time of instruments. Of course, given the situation of the past week, we also have to reconsider if other type of investments are needed. But the big bulk is for sure going to renewable.
Do you have a percentage to tell us? Actually, straight to the point.
No, in the current portfolio of operation, it's 100%.
100%?
Yes.
100% of the European investment will go to Ukraine to renewable energy?
No, it's not EU investment. It's support given under the Ukraine investment framework. So under the guarantee agreement that we are signing now, the pipeline of operation we know with the BRD, IFC, Also, the Green Growth Fund, if you're also familiar with it, yes, it's 100% renewable energy. It doesn't mean that it will remain like that, but the projects which were prepared were only renewable energy. Now, when we talk about Ukraine Energy Support Fund, for example, which has been set up and delivers spare parts, here they also, I think, have turbines, gas turbines, but I'm less familiar with that, but that's a different instrument. And of course, generators are by definition not a renewable energy as well.
Pierre Arnaud, I would like to ask also, you spoke right now about state energy, Ukrenergo, and you told that there is a lot of financements that will go to Ukrenergo. It's very good. But my question is, how you can see your cooperation with business? What business can do in this story?
Yeah, but clearly our Ukraine investment framework aimed at supporting the risking of private investment. That was a clear objective of it. And the guarantee agreement that we are signing with IFC or EBRD, they are made for the private sector. And also our operation with KfW via these green growth funds are for private sector. So clearly the business has to come with project and has to take contact with international financial institution, which we support, but they also have their own capacity, and they do not rely only on the EU. They also have their own capital, but for a big part they rely on us. And then we can support indirectly this kind of project. What is clear, the Commission, like this is under the Ukraine facility, we don't give directly grants to business, but everything is made via these international financial institutions.
Okay, so you don't intend to work directly with business association to invest directly to Ukraine. It's not possible. So I mean.
No, legally we have to work via implementing partners which are habilitated to manage EU funds. So these are our partners for the Ukraine investment framework. Of course, if there are questions, interest, especially big projects, we are also happy to try to steer, to know where to go. But formally, the relation between the IFI and the private investor, on one side, and between the Commission and the IFI on the other side. But in reality, it can be a bit more flexible.
I have a last question. So I have one more question to you. So actually, we are speaking about insurance, insurance against war, and insurance about political risk when you put investment in Ukraine. Could you comment, please?
Yes, there is clearly a need. So that's also something on which we are working for quite some time. So there was, of course, the EBRD war insurance scheme, which was announced last year, but which is unfortunately still not working, but will come soon to the market, but does not target energy infrastructure, but transport of goods. But it can be also transport of goods to make this production facility. But since then, there have been many other initiatives that have been taken. So I'm thinking here about MIGA, about DFC. I think that they offer this kind of products. Now there is work also made by National Bank of Ukraine to develop a war insurance, political insurance market. And for that, we may also provide support indirectly. So we are also discussing with Ukrainian authorities to see a bit what the setup would be and what kind of support we could provide. But what is clear is that we also want to address this issue. So we'll have to see, based on what DFC MIGA are doing, what EBRD is doing with us, what NBU could come up with, if there is still a gap to fill, and where we could also act. But the Ukraine investment framework can also cover, in theory, this type of risk. It's just that the mechanics are, of course, very complex in the insurance sector.
Thank you very much, Pierre Arnaud. It was indeed a very good presentation. And sorry for all my questions, because European Union play a very big role right now in providing help, really big help. So actually, a bigger help that could provide European Union right now, and it will definitely to make better investment climate in Ukraine. It's System Patriot and FC16, so it will definitely help. Thank you very much, and I will go to next speaker. Please stay with us, and we will have also discussion because there is much more questions to you. Right now, thank you very much. Right now we have a second panelist. It's Tony Hofreiter. It's MDP, German politician and member of the Green Party. And Tony did a lot for Ukraine. And thank you very much, Tony, for your jobs that was done already to Ukraine. So I will go straight to the point, to the question. We know that 9 June, it will be election to the European Parliament. And this election will show how politics of the European Union will be modeled. And my question is, how and in what ways can the new European Parliament influence the renewable energy transition in Ukraine? Please, Tony, your floor. Oh, sorry.
Thanks a lot. Firstly, the new European Parliament, of course, is very important, and here we face several dangers because of it has several reasons. The right-wing extremists could be much stronger in the next European Parliament than in the current European Parliament. And the right-wing extremists, not all of them, but many of them are pro-Russian, and nearly all of them don't believe that climate crisis exists, or in a kind of way even worse, don't believe that it can be influenced because they don't believe it's human-made. So there is a big danger there for fighting climate crisis and also for Ukraine when right-wing extremists become stronger. We will see what will happen. We have now first results from Netherlands. These first results are better than expected for Ukraine and also for fighting climate crisis, but we will see. In Germany, it's still 2 days to go. But then European Parliament will play a really important role because it's one of the co-legislators. And as already said, European Parliament gives a lot of money, and European Parliament gives the money for especially renewable energies. But if you allowed, let me say also some word, because you said what should we do immediate. I think we also have to deliver immediate much more air defense, fighter planes, ammunition, and allow Ukraine to use the things we deliver also in a proper way, because that's what's needed in the moment. And then we have to think about how to get Ukraine over the next winter. And there, I think it's very important that we explain to public, because public and most politicians in the moment believe after two well-went, in a kind of way, well-went winter, the next winter will be will go the way the last 2 winters went. And as already people explained, it will be much harder. We have raised this issue now because the next winter could be much, much harsher because so much is destroyed. And I think we have to focus on this. I can understand that also a lot of Ukrainians, they don't want to shy away investments, and so don't explain how harsh the situation is. But that's, I think, in the moment, the most pressing issue besides the weapon issue, how to get Ukraine over the next winter and what we can do there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tony. Yes, indeed, people need the support, and people need that we have more renewable energy. Why renewable? Because renewable, it's very quick deployable. So actually, if we will speak about solar, so solar, it's quick to install. It's not complicated. So we have to think how to do and how to do quickly. We have to work more with business, because we have to involve the business association in discussions in order that we construct a lot in Ukraine, and it is time right now to make it, because the people will flee from Ukraine, and we have to help our country to make people stay. Thank you very much one more time, Tony. And right now our third speaker coming, it's speaker Wolfram Simon Wolfram, Policy Officer, Division Ukraine, Eastern Europe, Caucasus, Central Asia, Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action. So please tell me what your office is doing right now in order to help Ukraine to pass next winter.
Thank you for the question. So we are supporting Ukraine, especially in the framework of the German-Ukrainian Energy Partnership, already since 2020. And since the start of the war from Russia against Ukraine, the focus is on the repair of the energy infrastructure, but also on the support and installment of decentralized renewable energies. We are the biggest contributor to the Ukraine Energy Support Fund by the energy community. Right now, Germany has already paid in almost 220 million euros. And so this is a fund which has been very effective. They finance, procurement by Ukrainian energy companies, or especially of repair parts, of transformers, but also of energy carriers to maintain a secure energy supply. We also do support with a donation campaign, which we are very proud of, together with German businesses and German business associations. German companies have already donated 8,000 goods, especially spare parts and transformers, which have been delivered to Ukraine through a logistics chain we set up together with GIZ, but also with local partners in Ukraine. Furthermore, we have multiple programs now for the installment of decentralized renewable energies, especially on public buildings. We do have pilot projects with GIZ. We also have announced last year at the climate conference the start of a fund at EIB, which will start operation this year, which will also support the installment of especially solar panels at public buildings. And the German government has announced a contribution of 20 million euro to this fund. Furthermore, we have set up a green window in the Ukraine Energy Support Fund, which means that part of the money Germany has contributed to the fund will be exclusively used for green projects. So I think we are doing our best to not only support Ukraine to come over the winter, but also to really look forward already to a green future in the European Union, which is decarbonized. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I have a question to you. Stay please with us. Actually, how you see the future for coal community in Ukraine? Because there is a lot of community. It was producing coal, and right now they would like to turn to another future. How you can see this transition? What mechanism could be proposed by you, like a representative of German government, to apply in Ukraine?
Thank you for the question. We have a specific project to address the coal transition in Ukraine, which was started in 2021. It's a project we're setting up together with GIZ. It has multiple purposes. One is the development of a national framework in Ukraine for coal transformation. The other is the implementation of transition projects in 2 pilot regions, one in the east of Ukraine, in the region of Donetsk, and one in the west of the Ukraine, in the region of Lviv. And furthermore, we had announced the start of or the setting up a Just Transition Fund. And we are in talks with different partners to set up the fund. This year, however, we are also in communication with the Ukrainian government how we most effectively use these funds. We had a vision for this Just Transition Fund just because now there is such a vast destruction of the energy infrastructure that of course the priority now is on repairing this infrastructure. But we of course we keep supporting the coal regions. And of course, in the east of Ukraine, unfortunately, it's very difficult right now because the front is also moving towards this pilot town we have, Myrnorad. And so right now the activities there unfortunately had to be stalled, and so we just do emergency help. So the focus is more on the town in western Ukraine, Chevonorad. And there we try to address the multiple issues this town faces, the influx of internally displaced persons, also from eastern Ukraine, and then of course the very grave economic effects by the war, and plus the challenges of the coal transformation. And this project is working on these issues since 2021, and we plan to continue this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your light that you gave to us. Right now, I would like to give the word to Maxim Bevs, and he's online. Normally, he's online. Please, Maxim.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, and Maxim.
Maxim,
it's team lead. Maxim, it's yes. I would like to present you, Maxim, because maybe a lot of people knows you, but maybe not all of them. So for this reason, Maxim Bevs, please. Team lead on renewable energy campaign and green rebuilding of Ukraine, Razom We Stand. Maxim, it's your floor, please.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. And first of all, thank you for this invitation. And I would like to thank you a lot for give a word about the new representation of our analytic research in situation in this energy. And situation in energy is very, very, very bad, really. That is Deputy of Ministry have shown some of the words, but I can mention, like Olga said, that we have only 10 gigawatts now, and every day in Kiev we have switch off electricity more than 6 and 7 hours. And if you believe the real situation with generation, and we have approximately 53 gigawatts of electricity before the war, and now we have the 10. And you understand that this situation is very bad. So in previous winter, how you said, we have approximately 19 gigawatts of electricity, but mostly people have migration. If you know, Ukraine have migration approximately 8 million of the people, and now and in the result, gas consumption in business is up to 1/3 lower than in 2022 before the war. First of all, I would like to speak with us about this financial mechanism what we are present, and I'm want to apply for this conversation Anna. He is from UNDP, and she show us later good mechanism of ESCO mechanism, how to finance the facilities, water facilities and heat facilities for Ukraine. This mechanism is work. And first of all, in our analytic research, I would like to present you the sum of figures that if we want to have a 40% of the green generation, we need approximately 3-4 billion of US dollars for reconstruction. And in our research, for full coverage of a coal plant, we need 8 million. So if we billion of US dollar for full coverage for coal plant, what we have previously. So I don't want to give you more and more data, as you can look it in our research, and you can find it on our website. Please, you can link it on our website and look. So if you have any question on this research, you can give me this question and I answer you. Olga, do you hear me?
Yes, yes, very good. Thank you, Maxim, for your presentation. My question to you, it's very quick. Please tell, do you think that it's possible to replace fuel and coal energy to renewable energy? What do you think? What is your opinion?
I think it's not only renewable. Unfortunately, we need to consume a little bit in gas, and we need more and more cogeneration station, biogas station, new turbines to develop and make decentralized system. Not a centralized system, because you see that centralized system not completely guarantee electricity for households and for the business. And the situation is now in business, you know, that business starts build more and more alternative energy, like solar plant, biogas station, and another one. But the head question is financing for these issues and the guarantees for the businesses, what we said on this panel. So for me, it's real, because the situation is very hard, and more faster if we start build local energy storages and solar plants for covering this electricity. So if it needed, in the next steps, we show with Anna some of figures how to implement new energy possibilities for the businesses and for local facilities, like in any of the cities. And maybe the next speakers give you more information on how it works in Ukraine.
Yes, indeed, Maxim. Decentralized energy will really increase resilience of Ukraine in energy, because we have a really struggling situation right now. And actually, decentralized energy, it's also good for Ukrainian independence, because, you know, Ukrainian, if you will, not only Ukrainian, so actually if you install solar energy with storage, then you could be independent. So just go to this independence. So it's a good message, and we are going to, thank you very much, Maxim, and we are going to our next speaker.
And I little bit added for my situation, like for Kiev. In Kiev, I don't have electricity, but in my village house, I built a small solar plant, and now I have electricity. And the next step is to transit this electricity to the grid. It's interesting, but unfortunately, we don't have a guarantee or government assistance in this case. A small percentages for a bankable situation, or any kind of helping for households to build a small solar plant for domestic solar. So I don't know, but we ask about this in ministry, but we have no answers. And they said, we have no money for this, unfortunately. And we are looking forward to build new possibilities to bring for the people before the winter time for credit lines or some mechanism to build small solar plant households or any kind of heat pumps, anything. So We have only 3-4 months for build a small capacities of electricity. But if you know to build the cogeneration station, it needs half of the years and more. It's a critical situation for, again, for the network electricity and situation for heating for big houses and households. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Maxim. It was very good example from your side. So renewable energy on your roof, it definitely will work and it's make you independent. We are going to Anna Zhovtenko, it will present us how it's possible to make more solar, more heat pump, more renewable in Ukraine. And Anna represents she's project manager in UNDP. My question to Anna right now is, what projects and activity does UNDP offer for the development of renewable energy sources, and what are the technical mechanism to do it? Please, Anna, it's your floor.
For this invitation. I'm very glad to be here, and I want to focus your attention now on another mechanism which can decrease the consumption of energy by public buildings and help to install more distributed generation in Ukraine. Could I please? Yeah, my presentation is there. Thank you very much. So you probably all know about the energy service mechanism. It's the model when a private investor makes thermomodernization or other actions which decrease consumption of the building or facility, invest in their own money, and then receives payment for some years to compensate this investment, while the public building receives small saving from the beginning, but then when this investment is paid out, then the public building or public entity pays much less. The main characteristics of this mechanism is that there is no burden on the budget, since this is private investment, and that's savings are guaranteed by the ESCO company. So the capacity and the risks are on the side of the investor. The legislation is there in Ukraine. It was adopted in 2015, and since that time, 639 ESCO contracts was launched for over than 2 billion of hryvnias in different regions. You can see on the map. Our project, which was funded by Global Environment Facility, helps to, in cooperation with State Agency of Energy Efficiency of Ukraine, helps to promote this modality and to pilot new options of this mechanism. So what did we do? Last year we helped to change the procedure of procurement of this mechanism. We decreased the lengths of the procurement significantly, and we also addressed some challenges which were caused by the as you see here, by the COVID and full invasion, to help the market to show decrease again. Now I want to show you the partners of the project. We have more than 23 partners. One of our partners is here, it's Vinnytsia. Now, in addition to thermomodernization, which is classical ESCO modality of contract, we piloting 4 other modalities. We also help to modernize the pumping on the water facilities. We help to install solar power plants to hospitals and water facilities, install LED lamps and decrease the consumption from street lighting. And we are also piloting enhanced ESCO partnership, which foresees the co-financing from the city. To do this, we conducted many energy audits, feasibility studies. I hope that presentation will be shared and you can see the links to our publications where you can see the figures from these studies. So for now, from 2023-24, we have 18 thermal modernization contracts involving ESCO in 6 cities. The main measures are installation and individual heat pumps. And this is what we call classic ESCO. And in addition to decreasing of energy consumption, as you can see from the pictures, the schools and facilities gain also the better conditions for the kids, for patients, and this is also important. I won't repeat, it was said today, how important to have distributed renewable energy solutions in Ukraine now. And one of our new model from 2023 is the ESCO solar plants on hospitals and water facilities. For now, we have 16 such contracts launched, and 7 are in pipeline. You see the capacity of solar stations. The main characteristics, as Olga's mentioned, only 6 months is needed from the announcement of tender to the start of generation. So this modality is very fast to implement. Of course, this is the pilots, and while this is like we are learning by doing, and now we pilot this only for water facilities and hospitals, water facilities, vodokanалы, because they have 24-hour consumption. And we, unfortunately, now legislation doesn't allow ESCO companies to use net billing mechanism. But if we change this, and in this case, ESCOs will be able to install more capacity for solar power plant, and also they may also afford to install storage, which will increase the energy security of such facilities. Here I have a couple of examples of the projects. For the time's sake, I will skip them, but if you have any questions or want to go into details, please ask me questions. I will be very happy to tell you. You see, we have a solar station in Korостyn, in Chornomorsk, Vyshgorod, water facility pumping station. All the data is there, the capacity, the worth in the savings. In Pervomaisky, also we hope that we'll have very big project in Lviv. Another modality which we are piloting is modernization of pumping units, and here, in addition, we also install solar power plant to these water facilities. We have such projects in Kryvyi Rih. For street lighting, 2 contracts have been launched in 2023, and 1 tender is announced, and 4 other cities are in the pipeline. So here we also will hopefully show good results at the end of the season. You see the savings are more than 50%, which is crucial for the city. And the quality of the service of the lights will be better. So another very interesting modality, this enhanced ESCO partnership, I want to focus on it a little bit more, because now many cities in Ukraine receive some aid from different countries and in form of solar panels, for example. But do you know that to install the solar panels, they need to procure additional equipment and procure the services for installation, and usually budgets are poor.
It's not enough, yes.
No, don't have money for this, yes. So here the ESCO company can help to procure all these necessary goods and services and install these panels. And in this case, this will be enhanced partnership, and the contribution of the city will be by the equipment, and they will receive the savings right after the installation of the power plant. So with Kraverik, we are piloting 3 of such contracts.
So actually, it's really clear message for the business that go and work with UNDP in order to make more renewable energy in Ukraine. It's also a good point. Thank you.
Yes, and that is another message I want to say, that the market needs more ESCO companies. And for now, we have only 14 local, like national companies, and it would be very good for international companies to enter this market, because the potential of the all kind of options is more than 500 contracts in next 2 years for more than 80 million euro.
Actually, Anna, you know, it's really interesting, your projects and what you're doing. It's great. Thank you very much. But how you could mobilize so many people? So who installing it? Because, you know, in Ukraine, the situation is really complicated, and there is mobilization, etc. So so energy sector couldn't have people, you know. It's really tough.
Yes, as it was said today, that yes, mobilization and other
how you manage
trends,
it?
We also provide capacity building activities and focus, and actually we want to focus more on women, involving women into this sector to substitute the workforce which we lost temporarily.
And last question that I would like to put to you. Actually, I saw in your presentation that you have a project, like biggest project that you did already. It's 350 kilowatts, and it was 800 kilowatts. So do you think that it's for local community, we can apply for the project like, you know, 2 or 3 mega? So it will supply more electricity, and it's also distributed energy, and it will work very well for local community. Do you considering such kind of projects?
Of course, I want to consider more bigger projects, but you know, ESCO modality, ESCO is business, and the project has to be bankable, and the return period should be not more than 10, 15 years. And if we install more capacities, and then the building consumes, then we need to foresee storage and this net billing system. So I think this net billing actually can be the turn point in this into the bigger projects via the ESCO mechanism.
Thank you very much,
1 minute for financial mechanism.
We will come to you after. We will come to you after,
okay,
because we have another speaker that's waiting for us. Already.
Thank you very much.
Online, but we have to speak about financial mechanism. It's really an important point. So right now, I would like to present our next speaker. It's Andriy Tabinsky, Executive Director of the Association of Coal Community of Ukraine. And Andriy joined us online this time. Andriy, I will go right to the question to save time. And the question is, what are the barriers to the implementation of project for creating new businesses in coal communities? Because coal communities, actually we discuss right now shortly about coal communities. You know, how you see the future, how you see the transition of coal communities to renewable future? Because, you know, there is a question about job, about you know, social questions, etc. How you see this future? Please, your floor.
Thank you, and I'm sorry in advance if you can hear the noise outside the window, because we have a lack of electricity and there is a generator working outside. Thank you for your question. I think the main and the biggest problem right now for everyone is war in Ukraine, right? And what I want to add that we need to have more benefits of coal communities. I'll come back to this to answer your question in the end of my presentation, if you don't mind, because I want to show you some information before that. So can you hear me, right? Because
yes, very well.
thank you.
We can
I'm
see you,
honored
we can
to-
hear you.
Thank you. I'm honored to speak on behalf of the 22 members of the association. On this map, you can see the geography of our members. A very important issue that we are not an NGO, we are self-government association that was established by the self-government bodies. 5 of our members, all of members are coal-dependent communities. 5 of them, they have thermal power plants, thermal power station on their territories, and 17 dependent, but because they have mines on their territories, and they are main budget forming enterprises of those communities. What is the goal of the association? The goal was to unite monoproprietary communities in coal mining and thermal generation, and we generally are representing their interest on national level, regional level, and international level with the international companies, international donors, let's say. It's the same way we are helping them to fundraise money to show that there are a lot of opportunities how to develop their territories. If you are talking about the development and opportunities for coal communities, now we are helping in a few ways, because if you know coal-dependent communities, it's almost 1 million people in Ukraine. So it's a quite big number, and it should be very lighted. We should shed light on this point very much. So currently we are providing grant supports to the businesses, enterprises from the coal communities, because we discovered that there is a much more grants from donors to the business rather than to the local authorities, and we believe that it will have good impact to the financial situation of the community. Plus, we are helping with the implementation of infrastructure project. For example, if some community wants to create an industrial parks for Europeans, industrial parks, it's hard to understand what is this, but just in general, we are preparing the land plots that will be already ready to invite investor to manufacture something on their spots. Also, we are creating on educational and practical centers. We call them centers for creative economy. We will provide the acceleration program for youth, veterans, and women. I want to pay your attention to this slide because due to the Russian missiles attack, Ukrainians' thermal power station have been almost destroyed, and there is almost 50,000 people living there. And it's not only the issue of the electricity, but in some of the coal communities, all the residents are dependent by receiving water supply, not only heating, but also the water supply. And it's a big problem because near 70% of thermal power generation are destroyed now by Russian attacks. And what do we see as a short-term solution? We are currently, today, we are already preparing for the heating season, helping to finding the solution using the cogenerative power plants. But there is a big issue because why those towns or villages didn't resign of the heating systems from thermal power plants? Because the most important issue is very cheap. And when they resign from it and choose the gas instead, there is a problem because it will become, the cost of utilities will increase at least at 3 and sometimes in 5 times. So as a midterm solution, Ukraine has a great potential for the solar, for wind power plants, and some of our communities have even hydropower plants opportunities. Currently, we are working with our communities to kind of categorize their lands, their opportunities, what they already have, because a lot of them, you know, that coal-dependent communities, they have mines on their sites, and sometimes it's much easier for investors to connect to the grid because there is
it's already
power
existing. It's already existing. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So we are trying to create from the association kind of foreign office, let's say, for those small communities, because they are generally small, to help them invite investors in the renewables. So I'll be glad to talk about it on Tuesday next week. I hope the members of first plenary will be there. We can discuss potential cooperation. As I already said, if we install the gas cogenerative power stations, we will have a problem with price of the utilities. So we currently are working on energy audits for those public buildings, which will be heated by that gas power stations.
Andrei, you have 1 minute.
Okay. We also work with the house owner associations, capacity increasing for energy efficient fund programs. We want to create project teams for coal communities fundraising. And all in all, what I want to add, we believe that just transition in Ukraine will be much effective if we will create some, let's say, tax benefits or reducing mechanism for tax. And currently we are working on a law to create specific economic zones for those coal-dependent communities, and we believe it will shed a light on them to potential investors that want to create more jobs in these sites. I believe, Simon, nice to see you. I believe that next week, in common efforts with you and the GIZ, we will finally launch the Just Transition Fund, and everything will be much more better. And we know that now it's a very hard time in Ukraine, not only in sense of energy lack, but because of war. But we believe that it's historically, you know, that hard times creates strong people, and strong people creates good times. So I believe everything will be okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andrei. So, and bravo for creating this wave to make industrial parks, because people will need to have jobs. People will need to rethink their future, and actually it's a time to do it right now. One more time, thank you very much. And right now we are going smoothly to another questions. So questions to more practical side, I would like to tell. Practical side, you implement already projects with a GIS financement. Sorry, it's Igor Atkidach, Deputy Mayor of Vinnytsia, that present here. Would like to present you more. And my question is, do you think that your city is ready already to pass blackout and lack of electricity for 2024-2025 seasons? We will go with translating. We will go with translating.
And organizers also asked us to stand up because we are not. They cannot see us on the camera.
Okay.
Доброго дня, присутні. Хочу сказати, що наше місто проводить активну роботу щодо дякую, thank you. Щодо забезпечення енергетичної безпеки, особливо це стосується періоду 24-25 років.
Dear colleagues, so first of all, welcome to everyone. And yes, I want to say that our city does a lot of work to ensure the energy security for the season 24-25.
Зараз коротко спробуємо розповісти про досягнення і плани на наступний період.
We would love to shortly introduce you to our plans and achievements for now and next period.
Коротко про громаду. Місто Вінниця знаходиться в центральному регіоні України.
Very shortly about our territorial community. The city of Vinnytsia and territorial community of Vinnytsia is located in the central Ukraine.
Населення складає 400 тисяч осіб, і 44 із них – це внутрішньо переміщені.
We have more than 400,000 of population of the citizens of the city, and almost 45,000 are internally displaced people.
Також хочу зауважити на тому, що наше місто 8 років поспіль визнано найкомфортнішим містом для життя в Україні.
I also would love to mention the achievement that we have is that our city is 8 years in a row recognized as the most comfortable city for living in Ukraine.
На даному слайді ми бачимо фактичні ракетні обстріли і який стан енергетичної інфраструктури станом на сьогодні.
At the photos you can see the results of the attacks on the energy infrastructure of our city and basically the actual state of play of some of the substations in the city.
В зв'язку з цим наша громада зіткнулася з рядом проблем.
Considering this, of course, our community faced many problems.
Ми з вами говоримо про обмеженість фінансування масштабних енергетичних проєктів.
You can see here on the slides that the financing of large energy projects is limited.
Також про недостатність енергетичної інфраструктури до об'ємів сьогодення.
As well as inability of the existing energy infrastructure to meet the needs of today.
В зв'язку з введенням блекаутів наприкінці 2022 і на початку 2023 років,
due to the blackouts in the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023,
нами була розроблена програма про встановлення сонячних панелей на об'єктах комунальної форми власності.
The city decided to develop the program for the construction of solar power plants for self-consumption by municipal enterprises of Vinnytsia City Council.
І було встановлено сонячних панелей потужністю майже 300 кВт.
And we installed solar power plants with the general capacity almost 300 kilowatts.
Також, розуміючи проблематику бізнесу, на початку 2023 року була розроблена програма по підтримці бізнесу щодо встановлення сонячних панелей.
Considering the issues that business was facing during these winters, we also decided to develop the procedure for partial compensation of expenses for purchase of autonomous power sources by business entities in the city. And in general, it led to the fact that 55 enterprises, they installed power plants at their facilities.
Програма полягає в частковій компенсації витрат, пов'язаних на закупівлю необхідного обладнання.
The program compensates all the necessary equipment for this transition.
Компенсація становить 30%, але сума не має перевищувати 23 тисяч євро.
So the compensation cannot extend 30% of the sum, and also in euros it's about 23,000 of euros for compensation.
Даною програмою скористалися 15 підприємств і ввели потужності в 2023 році 1,5 МВт.
In 2023, this possibility was used by 15 enterprises.
Також продовжується робота по встановленню 5 когенераційних установок, які ми отримали за рахунок міжнародної технічної підтримки.
We also continue our work on installing the cogeneration plants that we received due to the international technical assistance.
На базі нашого комунального підприємства Вінниця Міськтеплоенерго
On the basis of our municipal enterprise, Міськтеплоенерго,
проводиться робота щодо створення 3 енергетичних островів загальною потужністю 19,2 МВт.
We continue our work on the development on 3 energy islands in the city with a general capacity of almost 20 megawatts.
Завдяки реалізації даного проекту ми зможемо забезпечити електроенергією об'єкти критичної інфраструктури, лікарні, школи і садочки.
With the successful implementation of this project, we will be able to supply all the critical infrastructure buildings, which are hospitals, kindergartens, schools, etc.
Також у нас підписаний меморандум по співпрацю з групою компаній КНЕС.
We also have a memorandum of cooperation with a group of the companies NES.
Про створення малої системи розподілу, яка буде живити наші індустріальні парки.
About the creation of a small distribution system that will be powering our industrial plants, industrial parks.
Загальна потужність складатиме 25 МВт.
General capacity will be 25 megawatts.
На сьогоднішній день отримані технічні умови і розпочати роботи по виготовленню проектно-кошторисної документації.
Today we already have our technical task and we started already the process on developing on the technical documentation needed for creation of this system.
Орієнтовна вартість реалізації даного проекту 10 мільйонів євро.
The amount that we need to realize this, to implement this project is 10,000 euros. 10 million, sorry.
Попри все, ми продовжуємо працювати над розвитком сонячної енергетики.
And despite all of the challenges, we continue to work on the development of solar and alternative power in the city.
Наразі проводиться виготовлення проектно-кошторисної документації.
We work on development of the technical documentation needed for these projects.
І в 2025 році плануємо ввести 550 кВт сонячної енергії.
And in 2025, in the year 2025, we plan to start already to have increase in the capacity of solar power plants. 11, in general, 11 objects will have additional solar power resource.
Також на сьогоднішній день розробляється проектно-кошторисна документація по встановленню біогазової установки потужністю до 1 МВт.
We also develop all the necessary technical documentation for the biogas system.
На базі 4 наших комунальних підприємств встановлені теплові насоси потужністю 400 кВт.
And on the at several of 4 of our municipal enterprises, we also installed heat pumps with a capacity of almost 400 kilowatts.
Також новим напрямком для нашої громади є впровадження вітрових технологій.
Ігор, 30 хвилин. Секунд. 30 секунд, pardon.
Ми встигнемо.
We are finishing.
Pardon.
And the new direction that we want to start is the wind energy and specifically installing wind turbines around the city.
Також продовжуємо працювати над впровадженням енергозберігаючих технологій.
And of course, energy-saving technologies as one of the directions of our work as well.
Дякую за увагу. У мене коротко все.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Actually, there is not a lot of cities or communal locality that has so impressive, that did already so impressive work as did by your city. Thank you, really, thank you very much. And I hope that another mayor will take like example of this example, because you did really great job. 25 mega and a lot of facilities. And actually, it's only first time that I can hear that you did reimburse 30% of the installation, and it's incredible. If every city in Ukraine will do it, then definitely we will reach until 2030 our goal, 27% of renewable energy. It's possible, it's doable. We have to take example. Thank you very much.
Дякую.
And right now we are going to our next speaker. So actually it's Tobias. So Tobias represents Greenpeace and European project lead Green Recovery Ukraine at Greenpeace. I will go straight to the question to you. What are the primary tasks of Greenpeace in Ukraine. It was the first question, and half new project could align with existing initiative already. And please speak about project Horinka, especially.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you much for Razom We Stand. Greenpeace is doing a very special and very untypical project because you know us as an organization which is yeah, a highly political organization with clear demands and protest actions, but also with quite some analytical work. But here in this role, in this unique dramatic situation in Ukraine, we are joining many other organizations, and we are partly also an implementing organization. Obviously, we don't have the same resources as the big players in this situation, but we have proven to be very quick, and therefore I would like to talk in a moment also about the Horinka example. Thanks to the European Climate Foundation's support and in cooperation with Eco Action, the Ukrainian NGO and Kiev-based, we were able very, very quickly to repair a highly damaged ambulatory hospital in Horinka. This is the district of Bucha. We talked with the chairman of the Energy Committee of Verkhovna Rada, Andrei Cheiros, and he said, what you have done in Horinka, that was not the most sophisticated project and not the biggest project, but it was simply the first. It was the first project of this kind. What did we do? We simply repaired the roof and the building. We put solar panels on the top, put heat pumps in the ground, insulated the windows. Ready. That was it, yeah. And this was not about billions, not about millions, but about several 10,000s of euros. But it sent a signal also to other local communities. That was the value of this project. Here I would like to come back to what Pavel said for Berlin economics. This is a time where everything is needed. Yeah, we were talking about small scale, large scale. Everything is needed, and I believe that is a really important message also for the upcoming Ukraine Recovery Conference. Yeah? Recovery is needed, but before recovery comes survival. Yeah? It's a really dramatic situation, and I'm a little bit worried. The conference has been conceptualized obviously before the March and April attacks on the energy system. I would like to call actually on all of you, all of us participating in the side events, but also in the main event, to try to push to bring this energy issue to the center of this conference, and also to have it at the core of the declaration of this conference, participating in the side events, but also in the main event, to try to push to bring this energy issue to the center of this conference, and also to have it at the core of the declaration of this conference. Because yeah, we are now in the situation of load shedding that was not to be anticipated a couple of months ago, and we don't have the choice now to say this is the way forward or that, but everything must be done in this situation. Coming back to what Toni Hofreiter also said, one of the first points is, of course, military. This is simply the physical protection of energy infrastructure. That is number one. Without that, everything else doesn't make sense. On top of that, and you will not hear that quite often from a Greenpeace speaker, but yes, of course, the fossil power plants need to be repaired. Yeah, we need to do everything to repair the damaged or destroyed units. We also need to increase the import from the neighboring countries. We need to invest and to do more on batteries. We need to probably also add some gas turbines to the system. It is also something which is difficult for Greenpeace to say, but it is not the time to switch off the operating nuclear power plants. And of course, and that is why I'm standing here, this is the time for renewable energies, because they are the resilience. Yeah? They represent resilience. We said in the past as Greenpeaceers, when the French Secret Service once sank our ship, the Rainbow Warrior, our slogan was, "You can't sink a rainbow." Now we want to say, you can't destroy the sun, yeah, because the sun and the solar installations, it is
Recording in progress.
It is impossible to destroy them for a military source. And therefore, just echoing what Pavel said, so the steps must be taken to liberalize the electricity market, to reform the green tariff, to put loans and grants of the IFIs into place, to have export credit agencies ready. I understand that the German government is very active in improving the conditions for that, to encourage private investments and business to go to Ukraine. Yeah, because that is what is needed in this crisis situation. Actually a mindset shift. And I believe that today we witnessed it a little bit. So I was very pleased to hear the representative of DG NEAR speaking so clearly for the needed boost for renewable energies. And even the Deputy Minister of Energy, I think, was at least open for reforms. This is one important and also dangerous obstacle in such an emergency situation. I say it very frankly, the Energy Ministry is partly in its mindset ministry of the 20th century. This must change. So the energy interests, especially of the centralized electricity producers represented on the top of that ministry, must be given up. There must be this mindset shift, and I believe that this conference can really contribute it. And last thing about that, I believe, besides of renewable energies, one of the most important sources are people like you, like Igor, yeah? Like Igor Atkudach from Vinica, or another example, Yuri Bova, the mayor of Trostanets. That is a city we are working together very closely. Northeast of Ukraine, just 30 kilometers from the Russian border. The first city which was occupied in February
bombed a lot, yes.
22.
Yes.
This mayor has the courage to say, I want to be the mayor of the city which is the first going 100% renewables. And we, as Greenpeace, are trying to support them with feasibility studies and with trying to find an investor into a first project of multifamily houses to be equipped by heat pumps and solar energy. So I believe the future and the resource, the renewable resource of Ukraine lies in those people like you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tobias. Thank you. Tobias spoke, so it's Greenpeace. It's really, not all the time we can hear the words that you told right now. But what I would like to tell you, maybe we can think about rebuild better the systems that was destroyed. And we have to use innovative solutions. We have to make from Ukraine a green hub. It's possible. Ukraine could be green hub, and we can export energy to the European Union. We can do it with Thank you very much. Our guests have to go, so thank you very much, Tony, and thank you. Thank you. So we can do it, and Ukraine could be a green hub. Just think about it. Maybe we have to switch and think about innovation in renewable energy, innovation in energy field, and maybe to speak less about fuel energy. So, and right now I would like to give word to next speakers that online already. It's Anastasia Vereshchinskaya, sorry, and it's European Agency, Energy Agency. Please, Anastasia, could you give us example how you are working with member of your association, what challenges they have right now, how they are working on the field? Please give us more light about it, because we had already question in the first part of our discussion. It's about mobilization, how business can support it, how business can support the lack of energy, lack of financement. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you, colleagues. I'm happy to join you today, even online. So basically, our organization, European Ukrainian Energy Agency, we work as an association for foreign investors in Ukrainian renewables and energy efficiency sectors. Our member companies have installed capacities in renewables in different parts of Ukraine. Some of them have been building their capacities at now occupied territories, but mainly the stations of our members have been closer to southern part of Ukraine, for example, but there are some also in central Ukraine, in western now. Part of Ukraine. And regarding the challenges and bottlenecks, basically our organization is working actively on changing the regulatory framework in order to improve the investment climate in Ukrainian renewables. Of course, we support and cannot support more the idea of building back better using renewables as a source for reconstructing our energy sector. And just recently, there was a communication from Ukrenergo. Mr. Kudrytsky announced that Ukrenergo is really expecting renewables to build sufficient capacities that would cover the capacities that were lost in thermal generation. And we really support this message. We think that it's a very realistic perspective. However, there are some steps that need to be done. And in terms of regulatory framework, in terms of establishing more transparent processes for development of the projects. We see that a lot of our members who had some projects in pipelines, they have been facing issues with the connection to the grid. There is just one company within our members that have built solar plants in eastern part where it's very much needed, but they have been facing issues with the connection for half a year. I don't think that that is acceptable in these circumstances, especially when we have the lack of generating capacities and we have power outages across the country. So if we are talking about things that need to be improved, the first thing I would name is the predictability of the state policies that define the rules for the investing in the sector, for building new projects, the predictability of tariffs, and that is what we have been facing some troubles, not even recently, but for some time already. And regarding the predictability, for example, just very recent example with the separation of the renewable surcharge from the Ukrenergo's tariff. That is basically this surcharge is the one of the sources for funding the renewable support in Ukraine. And that has been existing for years already, but now we are hearing the ideas of its separation from the Ukrenergo's tariff. We see a lot of risks in that, and that would not definitely help us with improving the investment climate in the sector.
Anastasia,
Of course,
20 seconds. 20 seconds, please.
Sorry?
20 seconds.
Yeah, sure. So of course, there are a lot of issues, and if we are talking about the funding, and I really welcome the comments that were made today about the European funding that would be allocated and for the private sector. But of course, what we are seeing right now is that a lot of IFIs, they actually have still a lot of bureaucratic processes, and a lot of companies, even big companies, big investors, they do not have the possibility to comply with all of the regulations and criteria that are being set by IFIs. If we are not even talking about small investors. And if that does not change, because we do not see any project being financed by IFIs so far, like within these 2 years. And we have a lot of members who are talking with the IFIs, and their negotiations, they of course take time, but it should be quicker if we want to comply with these expectations of Ukrenergo, for example, that expects us to build several gigawatts in several years.
So we can dream. We can dream about it. We can dream about more renewable in Ukraine, even in this hard time like now. Thank you very much, Anastasia, for your explanations. And I would like to go to Anna Zhevtenko right now, because she will present very quickly, so in 2 minutes only, if it's possible, financial mechanism, how to get financement. And it's really, really important for the business. Only 2 minutes. And after, think about 2 questions that we will take from the public, and we will finish with the conclusion, Razom We Stand. Voilà.
Thank you very much. I will very briefly say that since there are lack of access to the finance, to affordable finance for ESCO companies in Ukraine, UNDP this year launches 2 finance support mechanisms to help them to address this challenge and address the challenge of absence or small amount of collateral for loans. So we cooperate with State Agency of Energy Efficiency, and within the Fund of Decarbonization, which was launched last year, we help to create this specific program for ESCO companies, which will help to issue loans on let's say, soft loans with lower interest rate and the lower need, with some guarantees, lower need for collateral. Very soon we expect that all the eligibility criteria will be announced, and we expect to have this year the first pilots. And another mechanism, if you can click, another mechanism was, yes, thank you very much, launched with BDF, a Business Development Fund, who's also the state-owned fund, where we will also pilot the issuing loans to ESCO companies for energy efficiency measures. Here, BDF will use their state program 579, which means the amount of the interest rate, so they will compensate this interest rate. And for first 10 pilots, we plan also some subsidizing of the loan. Hopefully we'll present you more results at the end of this year regarding both mechanisms. And this is only the pilots, what I want to stress. One more second. Both mechanisms are open for further investments, so please consider this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So actually, I encourage to take contact of Anna Zhivtenko and please make a photo. And if you have questions, you can pass directly to Anna. Thank you very much. Do you have questions from public? Can you go to the contact, please? Because people would like to make a photo. Yeah. So, and do you have questions from public? Okay. I'm coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for the very rich and substantial panel. Just one question about the recently announced increase of the electricity tariffs. To what extent will this change kind of the whole rationale behind the investments because of bigger income and because of shortening the times for amortization of such investments? Is that also a game changer, or how do you assess that?
It's a question to Anna or to everybody?
Yeah, okay. Primarily perhaps to Anna.
Thank you very much. Very, very quick answer. Yes, indeed. Very much. This is also a game changer. The higher the price for the energy, the quicker the return of the investment into energy efficiency measures.
Thank you very much. Next question from public. Who has a question? So, indeed, we will have more time to finish our presentation. So I would like to thank you, our panelists, for very, very rich conversation about renewable energy during the war, about really, we have a mechanism, what we have to do to make renewable energy possible in Ukraine, to reach 27% until 2030. It's definitely possible. Yes, we have a war. And right now, solar and renewable energy, it's really, really quick to install, and we have to do it. Thinking about another kind maybe of energy, you know, for innovative energy, so it maybe probably will take much more time. Think what we can to make urgently now, because Ukrainian people need electricity now. Winter is coming. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much. And I would like to give the microphone to Svetlana, Razom We Stand, to resume this very good conference.
Yes, thank you so much, the bravest people who stayed until the end of the conversation, and thank you for staying over time. We appreciate you very much. This discussion is not the end, it's just the beginning of a substantial conversation on energy solutions and actually ending fossil fuels, which is essential into everything we do. And we will, just to remind that everything starts from the powerful vision, and those cities that you've heard today, Trostianets, and there are other cities, 7 cities back in 2018 when I led the team of campaigners who persuaded them to declare 100% renewable energy transition goal by 2050, and 7 cities has stepped in and had their say, and no one believed into them. And they said it's populism, no, you're not going to get there where we are, and have you seen our renewable energy targets? Yes, we have seen our renewable energy targets, but now, when these cities, in 6 years from now, that's how we track an impact, are declaring and implementing such a brave energy plans and ambition that we truly believe that the renewable revolution will start from the bottom up, and top down will have to follow. So for that said, I'm really hopeful that we can overachieve this 27% of renewable energy goal by 2030 that has been currently put into National Energy and Climate Plan. But we all know that this plan is not perfect, and it needs to be improved in terms of the climate and energy ambition, because we really can do more, and Europe is already on the way. And because what Europe is planning, it's about 55 by 2030, and overall, hopefully, yes, overall 100% by 2040. We actually seen this research that proves that it could save Europe alone about 7 to 8 trillion of euros for energy transition, and we all have to be there. We have to reach to that point, and Ukraine, no doubt, undoubtedly, will reach to that point as well. And we will need, what we will practically do, and Vinnytsia, our city who first declared European Green Deal in 2022, just before the full-scale invasion, and we worked closely with them to analyze their documents, provide mechanisms, and we are all still keep connected, and thank you for being here today. Because the future is with communities and with public-private partnership. So what we will do in practice, we will summarize everything that is being discussed. We will send you all the follow-ups. We will send you a draft of recommendations that we are going to follow up to the URC committee and to the state secretaries of the Germany of Foreign Affairs Office, and also Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action, and also a few other contacts, and also to international financial institutions, EDG and DGNIR, because we still have this 20% of Ukraine facility funds that's currently being, thanks to many efforts of many partners, secured to rebuild Ukraine. And we have to make sure that financial aid is not going just in a short-term solution, which of course is needed, but our future is not diesel generators, as we have to state. It's building more energy independence. So we will send it. We aim to work to remove regulation, economic, and all other barriers that keeps us and financial institutions that would have possibly invested into renewables in Ukraine on a different sides. We need to find the common way, and we will build that way with your help. Thank you so much, and we invite you for lunch. Hope it was useful, and we plan more events on this regard. We will continue partner with you, and thank you so much for making the time, and see you at URC.
Thank you very much, Svetlana. So, only last question, only last sentence. Last sentence, just do it. Thank you very much. And please, we have lunch for you.